in your image too. So conscious of that. More action, keeping focus on the eye. You can use track focusing when you can. This wasn't exactly the greatest lighting, but you know, his eye is still in focus there, so captures a little personality there too. So a little bit of on creativity. I like to know the rules of photography and composition and art, and I also really like to break them. So yeah, I just have some examples here of use different perspectives, using different types of lenses, which we mentioned earlier, the fisheye. Trying art modes or shooting in black and white can add a completely different feel or element to your image. Using a background or using props, staging it if you want to. I don't think anything is wrong with that. Just make sure that you don't show the edge of the background, so you know that it's frame it right. Photograph them with their toys, because it also shows what they like to play with, what they like to do, and use the surrounding textures and patterns. This is huge. This is what I do in all of my photography, is I constantly look for textures and patterns and repetitions, because that adds so much more to your photo, really. So I have a few examples of these things here. Using a fisheye. This was actually taken with our 9mm fisheye lens. It's completely manual focus. We call it a body cap lens. And it is, oh, I don't have it over here anymore. It is the size of a body cap almost. It's just slightly bigger. It's fully manual focus and it's straight f8, which is why there's a little bit of blur there and not totally, the best in focus. But it's fun. Like, just looks like a fun little sweet happy dog coming at you, right? It's also in black and white. Bird's eye view kind of gives you a little different perspective. Here we are in a walk, and I know there, so you can see flowers here, and his ears are all perked up. Means he can hear bugs. He can hear bees or something he wants to hunt. And the lines, you're using the lines there. Different perspective here. So I was looking up, I think I'm bribing him with a treat right here. But it's a different look here than it is one that I showed earlier, which was taken the same day of just eye level. So kind of shows his little ears flopping around. You can see his bottom teeth, which are totally adorable. So you can get a little artsy, use our art filters. This is black and white. And in our cameras, all of our cameras have art filters, which, I'd say art filters to people sometimes, and they're like, oh, that's cheesy. But I mean, maybe some of them are, maybe it's how you use them. But some of them are really cool and really fun to play with. So, yeah.
Well, and describe the art bracket feature, because that's been one of the neatest things to get me to actually try and use these filters.
So art bracketing is very cool. What art bracketing does is it takes all of our art filter, when you turn art bracketing on, it takes all of our art filters, and you take a photo and it saves that one photo with every single art filter onto your memory card. Now, let's say there are some of the filters that you just don't like, or there are certain ones that you just want to use for that particular time. You can go in there and check and uncheck which ones you want it to take. So it doesn't take all, I think there's we're up to 16 of them right now. So
it's kind of insane.
Yeah, it is cool. There's one called dramatic tone. Actually, there's two dramatic tones. One's color, one's black and white, which is really cool to play with. So if you're outside with your dog, and there's clouds in the sky, it's gonna bring out like all these cool contrasts, and very cool.
Yeah, I've definitely recommended that filter to people before, because the dramatic tone, it is kind of amazing. And what always surprises me too about the filters, and especially about the black and white, is that it isn't just one black and white mode. Like the capabilities that Olympus gives photographers to like really tweak the black and white filter to behave the way we want it to be for ourselves is pretty extensive, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, cool. yeah, they're a lot of fun to play with and add some cool things to it. It's not just like a filter on Instagram, you know, which are they can be cool too. But oh, I should mention if you are shooting with art filters, let's say, and you shoot JPEG plus RAW, your JPEG will be the art filter and your RAW will be not the filter. It will be just the raw image. So you can shoot in conjunction if you aren't sure that you want to have that particular image. So it's kind of a safety net for people, you know, if you aren't sure about it, try it. Here's an example here of contrasting textures and repeating patterns. So I loved the contrast of the wood floor with the pup's fur. I think it's so cute, and the lines going across. I'm a sucker for lines and repetitions, patterns, everywhere. Props. You know, bribe your dog with a treat, and he's asleep. He didn't hear me say that. Make a cute photo. So I did set up a background for this. Created it. Use props. Things around your house. Add some color. I just happen to have this tool lying around, and I think he just laid on it. I don't remember exactly how that happened, but be ready for the moment, right, when it happens. More patterns and textures. So these lines crisscrossing, going every which way, adds to the photo, in my opinion. More patterns. I just thought that these colors were harmonious. Took that. Rule of thirds also. Light creates patterns too here. Lucy again by Richard. And earlier you mentioned Elliot Erwitt, which is great because I have just a little section on famous pet photographers for inspiration, especially since we have some time right now to explore. I'm a big advocate for furthering education. I constantly want to learn. So I actually went to the Harold Washington Library last year and checked out some books, some real books, y'all, on dog photographers, and I just looked through them, which was really, really great to look through. So I just have some examples of some of my favorites here. So Henry Hornstein, I like how you can tell that these are dogs, but it's not, it's the focus and stuff is completely what you wouldn't expect, especially since we just talked about, like, you have to get the eyes in focus. In this first one, he didn't, so. Obviously, all shot in black and white. Do you have anything you want to add to?
Well, I would just say, I do think what is neat about him is, like, you know, one of the things you did mention earlier was, you know, looking for the details, you know, looking for the details of our pets and stuff. And so that's exactly what he's doing here. And again, what here? Like the first one on the left is, well, the center one and the left one are both, you know, just about those great details about the dogs. And the third with the tail is totally about the light, you know. And I think it sort of speaks to the idea that, you know, for one, it's fun to sort of try and abstract things that we look at a lot. You know, so we've all made, as you've confessed yourself here, like innumerable numbers of pictures of your pets. So we know what the heck your dog looks like. But those first two pictures, again, on the center and the left, sort of challenge us to try and see the animal in a different way. And that's kind of cool. We don't need to see the dog's eyes to know it's a Doberman or something going on here. It's just about that big black nose coming out towards us. And the one on the far right, you know, again, just speaks to light, you know, and that's what photography is about. And just find interesting light on any subject and you can make an interesting picture. That's what I got.
Yeah, shades. I love the lighting in the left. It's just so delicate around the dog's nose. You can, you know, dog's nose is gonna always be wet, hopefully, if they're well. And you can almost feel it. And also, even though the eyes are out of focus in the background, you can still see the catch light in the eye.
Hmm. Yep, that's
So
very
that's
true.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Yeah.
those.
So,
I wasn't familiar with this person's work, so thank you for sharing it.
oh, really? Yeah. I mean, he's got so many good ones. I just picked three, but I could have picked any of them, and they would have been a great example. Just different way of seeing things in the world here. So Elliot Erwitt, I would say, is probably just, I love this guy. I really do.
He's a master, and he's funny.
Yeah, just, I mean, the compositions and what he sees here. You know, and the top here, the dog's jumping and it's a little blurry. And you know what? I don't even care. By today's standards, you know, everybody has to have everything perfect all the time. And like, oh, well, this is this or this is this. And it's like, actually just take the photo in. Like, this is a moment that he captured and it's brilliant.
Yes, yes. Well, and I think, you know, like you've mentioned too a couple of times in our talk here today, you know, getting down to the dog's level, you know,
Mhm.
makes for a more interesting picture. And I can't even, like, Elliot Erwitt has made many, many dog pictures. None of them, none of the ones that I can draw to mind, do you ever see a person's face. You know, the dogs are always with people in the pictures, but you never see that. It's always about the dogs in relation to these legs or other body parts, but it's
Yeah,
always very much about the dogs, and that's cool.
yeah, it is. It brings you down into their world. You're a
Mhm.
completely different world here with the dogs. You know something else is going on up here, but this is what's important.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
All right. Deanne Arbus. I really like her work also. This one, I mean, it's life imitating life, right? Like, this is kind of what I love. So,
Well, Dean Arbus, you know, I mean, she saw things differently, and so, you know, she wasn't afraid to see them in her own unique way, and so that's definitely something that we can all be encouraged more to explore.
absolutely. Yeah. You can find so much inspiration with these artists and not just limited to these four that I chose. There are a lot of resources, but when you can go back to a library and get
Yes.
your hands on a real book or order a book from your local bookstore, support your local bookstore, support your local camera stores. I'm not finished yet, but yeah, just got on Mary Ellen Mark.
Mm.
Um, love what she does. Like, I don't know how she got those four dogs to pose in dresses like that for, but you know, just four completely different perspectives here, and you can just find so much inspiration. Dress your dog up, put a bow tie on it.
Mary Ellen Mark again. I mean, you know, bless her soul. She just died a year or two ago, I think. Like she's not with us anymore. That much I remember. But I know when I first started exploring photography, her name and her work was one of the first ones that I became familiar with because she is so great. She
Mhm.
produced an incredible body of work, and I do think that that picture of the dogs in the dresses on the stools. Um, she spent a long time traveling with like foreign circuses, specifically in India, I think it was, exploring
Wow.
Indian circuses. So she has some amazing, amazing photographs of the various animals that were working in these Indian circuses, as well as the other circus performers. So, yeah, if you do want another good photo book, would be Mary Ellen Mark's circus book because it's remarkable, you know. And what's also so neat is she is so great at portraits and like the sensitivity that she exhibits, whether she's photographing a person, is the same as whether she's photographing animals. And it's just,
Mhm.
you know, they respond to that, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you for
You're welcome.
that. And that is all I got here. I mean, I'm sure I could talk about pet photography all day long, but I know we covered a lot. What, you know, I hope that this can spark some inspiration in people to photograph and
Yeah. So
make memories.
we're going to share this video, and a few days from now, you'll have the chance to come online at Facebook and chat with me and Shelley. So check out the details on our Facebook page, and come chat with us. Or share some of your pictures with us if you want to post some pictures in the Facebook thread that you want some feedback on, either because they turned out great or because you don't know what happened to them. uh,
Yeah,
we're going to be there online with you. So we'll give you feedback, we'll answer questions, and be happy to chat with you.
sounds
Um,
great.
and anything else, Shelley?
Uh, Other than to tell people to support your local store, support my Crivellos, and thank you, Troy, for spending this time with me today and for doing what you do. I
Okay, well,
appreciate you.
thank you so much. This has been a treat. Thank you for all the time you put into putting this presentation together. And yeah, again, to everybody who watched the video, we look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.